Alright, Flix fam, real quick. If we're watching the thing, I just need all of y'all to understand something up front. If you cough funny, I'm suspicious. If you blink weird, I'm suspicious. And if you come back from the kitchen with a different vibe, I'm suspicious. Because this movie review is about John Carpenter's The Thing, aka the blueprint for paranoia, one of the GOATs of practical effects, and the reason I don't trust anyone in a winter coat. I'm going to break it down scene by scene, and even though I move some things around, we're going to see how this movie unfolds from beginning to end. Every turning point, every oh no, and every time the crew realizes that they are cooked. Some literally. So grab your popcorn, your snacks, and your drinks, and let's get back to the flicks.
Let's take a trip down memory lane. So hop in the whip, let's ride the wave. Destination set where classics were born. So kick up your feet and grab the popcorn. Blockbuster movies that swept the nation. Hit the like, subscribe, and notification.
A helicopter appears over the ice, chasing a lone dog running full speed across the snow. Two Norwegians in the chopper are frantic. One is firing a rifle at the dog while the pilot tries to keep up. The shots kick up snow behind the dog as it zigzags and keeps running. At an American outpost, the crew hears the noise and come outside to watch the strange pursuit. The dog bolts towards them like it's seeking help, and the Norwegian with the rifle jumps out in pursuit, still firing at the dog. He's shouting, trying to warn them, but no one understands. The gunfire continues. Their actions are tense and reckless until the Norwegian pilot loses control, tries to throw a grenade, but it slips. When the grenade detonates, it sets off an explosion that ignites the rest of the cache, killing him instantly. The remaining Norwegian raises his gun in an attempt to strike the dog down, but he makes the big mistake in shooting one of the Americans instead. Without context, they raise their weapon and fire back, ending him in one shot. The helicopter sits smoking in the ice. The dog, untouched, calmly walks up to the outpost like it belongs there. The Thing is a creature feature and a psychological thriller wrapped up in one beautiful frozen bundle. Even though the monster is terrifying, they're still combating the weather and the lack of trust, not only in the crew members, but in themselves. I mean, how terrifying is it to realize that you might be the creature yourself? And Carpenter builds the dread within this movie very slowly. His excellent use of wide shots and just silence speak volumes. And it's not only the lack of trust that gets under your skin, it might literally be the person standing right next to you. I love how this movie opens up and starts off with us asking the question, why are they chasing this dog and why are they trying to kill it? I'm assuming most of us know by now what this dog actually is. But just think about when this movie was first released and the dread you felt when these people were trying to kill this dog, only to realize that later everything isn't always what it seems. And that other than the freezing temperatures, this dog poses the greatest threat to the entire camp. Trying to make sense of what just happened, the Americans decide to investigate the nearby Norwegian base. A small team flies out over the frozen landscape and lands in an abandoned camp. The place is burned and tore apart like something violent happened and very fast. Inside, they find frozen bodies and signs of panic. Doors blown out, equipment smashed, rooms scorched. In the snow, they discover a grotesque, half-burned corpse that looks wrong. It's not fully human. It's like two bodies fused together in a twisted shape. They take photos and gather whatever evidence they can find, which includes a damaged recording that hints at what the Norwegians were dealing with. Before leaving, they recover the strange frozen body and bring it back to the American outpost. Whatever happened here wasn't an accident. It looks like an attempt to stop something from spreading. They turn up at this Norwegian camp and it's like they're walking into the aftermath of a nightmare. And John Carpenter was so great at just letting the environment tell the story. You can tell by the damage that this base took and the fact that someone chose to opt out themselves, that something serious went down here. And those massive human-like remains only lead to more questions. But just remember, during this entire time, the dog is back at the American camp, settling in. Back at the American base, the dog is treated like a harmless stray. It wanders the halls, watches people, and settles in like it's studying the place. The men go about their normal routine, the meals, talking, work, and boredom, while the unease from the helicopter incident still lingers in the air. They recover the body from the Norwegian camp. It's moved into storage for an autopsy. The team argues about what they're looking at because it definitely doesn't fit any normal explanation. Meanwhile, the dog is placed into the kennel with the other dogs. At first, it seems calm, but when it changes, the dog's body begins to distort. Its skin stretches and the head splits, and tendrils explode from his body, whipping around the room. It lunges at the other dogs, rapping and pulling them in. The kennel erupts in panic. The animals start to scream as their bodies thrash and the cages shake. A crew member runs in and sees the transformation mid-action. The alarm goes up. Men rush in with flamethrowers. This thing keeps moving, still half dog, half something else, spreading itself across the room like it's trying to absorb everything. They blast it with fire until it collapses
collapses into a shard twitching mass.
And just when the movie was leading up to a pure psychological thriller, they said, nah, we're going to do this. The practical effects are absolutely disgusting and beautiful. They're not teasing it anymore, they're showing the full capabilities of this creature. And the statement is, it has the potential to corrupt every living person on this base. And the biggest concern quickly turns from an immediate emergency situation to a potential global takeover.
After the kennel incident, the team drags what's left of the burned creature into the lab. The doctor begins an autopsy, cutting into the remains and discovering tissue that doesn't behave like any normal animal anatomy. It's not a mutated dog, it's something that was becoming a dog, or using the dog's shape as a disguise. The men connect this back to the Norwegian camp and realize the Norwegians weren't hunting a dog at all. They were trying to stop whatever that dog really was. The crew examines the frozen, deformed body recovered earlier and sees that some kind of impossible biology. The conclusion becomes clear. There is an organism loose in the base that can imitate living creatures, and it's using that imitation to get close. If it can copy a dog, it can copy a person. And if it copies a person perfectly, then no one can tell who is real just by looking.
And now they all realize that this creature can actively imitate all living organisms. So the question not only is, how do we kill this thing? It's who can we trust? And next to this grotesque thing, the realization of truth is probably the most terrifying thing out here. Some of them can't take it and begin to spiral.
Blair starts running some calculations and simulations on the base computer, trying to understand how fast this organism could spread if it reached civilization. The results are horrifying. If even a small piece makes it out, it could overwhelm the world. Blair's behavior shifts from calm to frantic. He insists that they can't allow anyone to leave. The crew argues they need help, they need evacuation, they need communication. Blair doesn't see it as a rescue problem anymore. He sees it as an extinction problem. He takes action, destroys the radio equipment, smashes communication systems, and sabotages the vehicle so that no one can escape. When the others confront him, Blair becomes violent. He kills the remaining dogs to eliminate possible hosts to keep the organism from using them again. The outpost turns into a prison. The men overpower Blair and lock him in the isolated tool shed outside, cutting him off from the group. Now they're trapped. The storm season is closing in, and the threat is still inside with them.
And this is the actual apocalypse math moment. He's just not thinking about today, he's thinking about the entire world population. And this raises the big question. How far do you go to protect everything else? You know not everybody's going to be on board, so you have to take things into your own hands. And that realization alone is fracturing the group. And even though some of them are still human, they're still being infected with distrust. And then we get the first terrifying proof with a person.
With Blair confined, the crew tries to regain control. They search for ways to test who's human, but they don't have a clear method yet. The frozen body from the Norwegian camp is still being studied. At one point, Bennings is alone near the stored remains. Something happens off camera, quiet and fast. When the crew returns, they find Bennings in the middle of changing. His hands and face aren't fully human anymore. He looks like he's being rewritten. He lets out a strained, unnatural sound and tries to escape into the snow. The men chase him outside under the harsh floodlights. Bennings is partially transformed, still wearing human clothes, but no longer fully human. They don't debate it. They hit him with the flamethrowers and burn him down in the snow until he stops moving. When it's over, they stand there, shaken, because now it's official. The organism can copy a person, and the copy can walk around until it's forced to reveal itself.
This is the point of no return. I like to say it's the most epic scene in the movie, but there's tons of them. And once you see a person change, you realize that anyone has the potential to be one of these creatures. You can take the morality and all the niceties and throw those out the window. There's no, let's just talk about this. It's 100% survival mode from here on out, all or nothing. And after that, the paranoia digs its claws right into every crew member.
The camp starts turning on itself. Everyone watches everyone. Small actions look suspicious. The dog handler Clark becomes a target because of how close he was to the dog, and because he defends the idea that the dog might not have been a threat, at least not at first. Tempers flare. McCready tries to keep order, but the stress pushes everyone towards panic. In one confrontation, Clark makes a sudden move and McCready reacts instantly. A gunshot goes off. Clark is hit and goes down. The room freezes. The organism has already made them dangerous to each other, even when they're human. They secure Clark's body, but the fear remains. If they can shoot their own out of confusion, then the thing doesn't even have to attack directly. It just needs them to fall apart and wait.
Besides what the thing has already shown the crew, its grotesque form and ability to copy living organisms, the scariest thing is that the thing doesn't actually have to do anything. The survivors will tear each other apart off suspicion alone. With bad communication, mistrust, and stress, now every member on the team is a hazard. And this is where the movie hits us with another one of those great practical effects. A scene that most couldn't forget even if they tried.
Later, Norris suddenly collapses. The team rushes him into the medical area. Copper prepares to use defibrillator paddles. As Copper presses the paddles into Norris's chest and shocks him, Norris's torso splits open like a trap. Teeth and flesh open up outward and Copper's arms are bitten. His hands are mangled and ripped. The room erupts into chaos. Norris's body becomes a nightmare of moving parts, as if the organism is rearranging itself live. They grab a flamethrower and blast Norris's body with fire. As they burn it, the head detaches, drops to the floor, and transforms yet again. The head sprouts legs like a spider and skitters away, trying to escape. Someone catches it and burns it too. The men stare at what they just saw because it proves something terrifying. The thing doesn't just copy a whole person. Every part of it can act on its own.
So now the rule is set. Every piece of this creature tries to survive like its own entity. But with this bad news comes a silver lining. Now you can at least test for proof. You just gotta be willing to deal with the consequences when you find out.
McCready proposes a test based on a simple idea. If every piece of the organism is alive and trying to survive, then even a small sample should react when threatened. They gather supplies and set up controlled tests. The men are restrained and kept together so that no one can slip away. But the tension is high, everyone is armed, and the group watches each other's faces more than the equipment. McCready heats a wire until it's glowing. One by one, he cuts a small sample of blood from each person and touches the hot wire to it. Each time, the room holds its breath. Most samples react normally, just sizzling blood. But when he tests Palmer's blood, it reacts violently. The blood jumps up like a living creature trying to escape. Palmer's body instantly changes. His face contorts, his mouth opens unnaturally, and his limbs begin to morph. Chaos explodes. People scream and scramble. McCready hits Palmer with the flamethrower and burns him down. In the panic, Windows gets attacked and killed, and the group barely survives the outbreak of violence.
I don't know if it's just me and my love for horror movies, but the tension in this scene is pure comedy. It's not intended to be. I just find that the blood testing and the quick cuts just make me laugh. But the suspense is perfection. The room is quiet and everyone is tense. Have you ever been really tired or under the influence of something and tried to convince everybody else in the room that you're cool? This scene is exactly that. No one wants to look out of sorts, which inherently makes everyone look suspicious. And even with the win of sussing out one of the creatures, they end up losing multiple team members. Sometimes you can't win for losing.
After the blood test, the base feels even more doomed. Confronting one infected person doesn't solve the problem. It proves that there could be more, and the thing has been moving through them for hours. The crew discovers more sabotage. The supplies have been ruined, equipment damaged, and their plans have been interrupted. Fuchs disappears during the chaos. They search the base and they find him outside, burned, dead, charred by the fire. It's unclear if he did this to himself to prevent assimilation, or if the thing staged it to remove him. This uncertainty eats at all of them. They check the generator and realize that the power is failing. In the cold, losing heat is a death sentence, even without the organism. With Blair locked away and the storm season isolating them, the outpost becomes a shrinking circle of light surrounded by darkness, and the thing is still inside that circle.
After the very first dog kennel reveal, for the crew there's really no relief in this movie. And that's what makes this scenario brutal. Even the quiet parts are stressful, and all the uncertainty is like a ticking time bomb, because not knowing is the perfect way to keep everyone scared and reckless. Then they discover something that changes the stakes yet again.
When they check on Blair in the shed, something feels off. He seems calmer than before, too calm. The crew discovers evidence that Blair has been working on something in isolation. They investigate further and uncover a hidden passage beneath the outpost. Tunnels dug under the snow, leading to a secret workspace. Down there, they find a disturbing construction, a crude aircraft-like machine being assembled out of scavenged parts. It looks like an escape attempt. The implication lands hard. Blair isn't just surviving. Something is trying to leave. They realize Blair may no longer be human, and that the organism is attempting to build transportation to reach the outside world. The plan changes immediately. This is no longer about waiting or searching. It's about preventing anything from leaving, no matter the cost.
And not that they haven't already had a ton of them. This is one of those big oh crap moments. This thing is smart. It's not just some creature acting on instinct. They're not just dealing with horror, they're dealing with strategy now. And what's really terrifying is that intelligence means patience. And patience wins. So now they've got to commit to the only real option.
McCready lays out the endgame. If the organism can hide perfectly, and if it can build a way out, then the only solution is total destruction. They decide to blow up the outpost and burn it, eliminating any chance of the thing surviving in the wreckage. The crew splits up with explosive and flamethrowers, moving through the dark halls and freezing room. Every corner feels like a trap. The base is quiet except for alarms, wind, and footsteps. The group gets picked off during the final push. Gary is attacked and killed. The others disappear in the chaos. chaos. The thing reveals itself in pieces, partial transformations, sudden movements, and a sense that it's everywhere at once. The outpost becomes a battlefield of fire against cold, with trust already dead, and any attempts at survival are hanging on by the second.
So now they've done the math and they've come up to the sum of no one leaves. Nothing gets out of here alive. It's a grim decision, but it's the only one that really makes sense. And Carpenter shoots it like a siege. Tight spaces, tension, and that constant feeling that something is right behind it. And this decision leads us to the final showdown.
In the deepest parts of the base, the organism fully reveals itself. Blair transforms into a monstrous form, tall, twisted, and not confined to one recognizable shape. It attacks MacCready directly. The fight is desperate, close, and chaotic. MacCready uses fire to push it back, but it keeps reforming, trying to overpower him. He triggers the explosives and brings the structure down around it. The outpost erupts, fireballs, collapsing beams, metal groaning under the heat, and the snow blowing through all the broken walls. The organism is caught in the destruction. The final blast rips through the base, and the night sky over Antarctica lights up as the entire station burns. This plan only succeeds if nothing survives in the ruins.
And now that the thing realizes that there's not many survivors left, it goes all out, holding back nothing. It's either A, pulling out all the big guns in one final attempt to decimate everything, or B, one big show to have a portion of itself sneak away covertly. MacCready's not taking that chance and he pushes the button, decides to bring it all down. And this is where we get to one of the coldest and most debated endings of all times.
When the fires die down, the outpost is gone. MacCready sits in the snow, exhausted and barely alive, surrounded by burning wreckage and freezing darkness. Childs appears, alone, coming in from the cold. MacCready doesn't know where Childs has been, or if he's even human. Childs doesn't know if MacCready is human, but they don't have the energy or the certainty to keep fighting. They share a drink. They watch the last of the flames. No one makes a move. No one tries a test. They sit there in the cold, waiting to see what happens. Waiting for the freeze or waiting for the truth. The movie ends on that standoff. 2 survivors, no trust, and the possibility that the thing is still there, quietly winning.
And this ending is the thesis. It's not about a final jump scare. It's about what paranoia leaves behind. Nothing. No trust, no comfort, and no clean win. And that's why people still debate it. So I'm asking all the Flix fam, who do you think was human, if anyone, and why? Go ahead and put it in the comments. And that's the thing. One of those movies that doesn't age out because it's built on something real, fear and uncertainty. All of the performances feel grounded, and the practical effects are legendary. From the beginning of the movie to the dog kennel scene, you don't even realize you're in a creature feature until the special effects slap you in the face and remind you you're in a John Carpenter movie. Carpenter's direction even made the cold feel like a character. And even with all the practical elements, he still does a great job in showing how people break down when the trust is lost. And I think that carries the bulk of the weight of the movie, and the monster just has to show up and do his job. So Flix fam, if you've enjoyed this movie, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell, and go ahead and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. But until then, be safe, stay human, and I'll see you when we get back to the Flix.
We're going back to the flicks, rewind and mix 80s flicks, family ties in the Netflix fix. Reliving those days with the little ones amazed in this retro way. Old classics pave the way. Back to the flicks, rewind and mix 80s flicks, family ties in the Netflix fix. Reliving those days with the little ones amazed in this retro way.